Dear Sisa, we are live. The floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. When women support and empower each other, the incredible things happen. Thank you for being here together to make a world of learning. This is Sisasenkosi Ndlovu, and I am honored to serve as the moderator for today's session as a fellow of Women Ascension Skills Development. The Women Ascension Skills Development Department empowers women to grow personally, professionally, and economically by providing practical trainings in communication, leadership, digital skills, entrepreneurship, career development, and community engagement. Through these programs, participants gain confidence, leadership abilities, and the skills needed to succeed in their careers, start businesses, and also make a positive impact in their communities. Today's session is titled Career Awareness and and also exploring opportunities and global workforce trends. The purpose of this session is to help participants understand career opportunities, explore global workforce trends, and learn how personal interests, education, skills can guide us meaningfully they can guide us meaningfully towards career pathways. This topic is important because many students and young professionals often feel uncertain about choosing the right career path. Through discussions like this, we can better understand how to connect our skills, interests with real-world opportunities. Allow me to introduce our mentor for today. It is my pleasure to introduce our mentor for today's session, Ms. Nicole Letaru. Caroline is an NH advocate at Kazin Consults and associated with the National Institute of Business Management, Global. She is passionate about NH development, sustainability, and empowering communities through knowledge and skills. Through her work and advocacy, she contributes to important discussions on development, innovation, and opportunities in the global workforce. We are truly honored to have her with us today to share her insights and experiences. Without further delay, I would like to invite Ms. Nicole to begin the session. Ma'am, the floor is yours. We look forward to your guidance and knowledge you will share with us all today. Thank you, ma'am. You can have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ndlovu. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much as well, Tahima, Mahin, and the entire Women Ascension team. I'm so happy and excited to be here yet again to just be able to speak to young people out there, because anything related to careers, you know, these are very, very important conversations that we still need to keep having in order to continue learning from one another. And yeah, basically being able to impact people globally. So I'm really, really happy and excited to be here. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you today something related to career awareness and pathway mapping. So personally, this is something that is very, very, how can I say, it really resonates with me so much, because currently, apart from even me mentoring other people on career awareness, currently it is also something that I'm going through with my own career journey. So I'm so excited to have this session with you, and basically just we are here to learn from one another. And yeah, so without further ado, I'll just start the session. So a little bit about the overview on what we are going to look at today. So the first thing that we are going to look at is understanding career awareness. You know, why exactly do we even need to be aware of our careers? Why is now the right time for us to get to understand the foundation of our careers? Because that is obviously going to determine a lot in terms of the direction that we move towards with our career. And then the other one is discovering your strengths. So here under this, we are going to look at, how we are able to identify natural talents and abilities that can be able to set you apart, especially in this competitive job market that we are in. And then the other is exploring career pathways. So we basically just want to see the full landscape of different routes available in today's world of work. And then lastly, we will look at how we can be able to map our steps. Because that is very, very important, being clear, having a personal roadmap from where you are to where you want to go. So in a nutshell, this is what we are going to be looking at in today's session. Right. So one of the key things as we start, why does career awareness matter? Somebody may want to ask themselves that why does career awareness matter? So one of the key things here is most people usually choose careers based on outside pressure and not inner clarity. And true career fulfillment obviously will come from 3 different powerful forces that align. So why is it that most of the times, we tend to choose careers probably that are not even in line with what we want to do? Because personally, it's something that I've also found myself at this crossroads. One of the key things is most of the times people end up choosing careers because that is what others expect out of them. For example, here in the African household, especially a lot of families, a lot of households usually tend to have this expectation of their kids maybe becoming lawyers. They want them to become engineers, pilots, and all these different careers. And then maybe for you, for example, if your passion probably is more towards maybe writing or probably becoming a content creator, then you find that a lot of African households really don't take those career paths very seriously, and they kind of think that, okay, this person is not really serious with their life. Yeah. So you find that at the end of the day, we end up choosing careers that others expect out of us, but maybe it wasn't actually something that we ourselves actually wanted. And then the other is most times also people tend to choose careers basically because of popularity or how prestigious it is. So for example, now we've seen people in the IT industry, the IT jobs, maybe working as a developer, there's engineering, there's, being a doctor and all these different careers. So because these titles are heavy and they are so prestigious, so you'll find because of that peer pressure, sometimes I may look at someone and I'm like, oh, okay, because this person is an engineer, even me, I want to become one. For example, I remember when I was at the university, I really, really wanted IT, but somehow, somewhere, I did not end up pursuing it. I was not given that course. So instead, they ended up giving me journalism. And somewhere I was thinking that, oh, okay, maybe I made a mistake. I should have actually done journalism, because a lot of my colleagues, after completing like the university and whatnot, some of them were not even getting jobs. And me, who was not in an IT field, I actually ended up getting a job even before some of those that were in some of these popular or prestigious careers. So sometimes people choose because of how popular it is, but at the end of the day, everyone's reality is not usually the same. Then the other is what friends or family are pursuing. So because maybe you find you're coming from a lineage of doctors, maybe you find all of your siblings have been doctors, your parents, maybe great parents. So at the end of the day, that pressure also comes back to you in wanting to pursue the same career path. And yet you might find that maybe that is even not exactly what you would have wanted, but now because it's from the lineage you're coming from, you end up also pursuing the same route. Then the other is what they think will make the most money. So a lot of the times we also end up choosing careers basically because we feel like, oh, okay, if I go in this path, that is what is going to help me be able to make the most money. And sometimes that can actually be true, and other times it may not really be true. So what actually creates lasting success or lasting impact as you're trying to become aware about your career path? One of the key things is look at your interests. What are some of those subjects and activities that actually genuinely lighten you up? What is it that you feel comfortable doing or pursuing? Because those are some of the key things that can help you become self-aware and help you also in terms of driving you in a particular direction that you want your career to move towards. Then, apologies, let me just switch on the light here. All right. Then the other is your strengths. So what are some of those skills and talents that you naturally have and you can be able to do them repeatedly? Because personally, with my own experience, I ended up I lost my job. That was in 2023. And since then, I've not like really been in formal employment, but my skills and my strengths somehow, somewhere have been able to help me get different job opportunities here and there that I have done. So what are some of those skills or talents that you naturally have and you can equally be able to do them consistently? Because when you discover your strengths, when you discover your skills, those are also some of the things that are going to be able to help you get to determine your career path. And then the other is real opportunities. Take your time and do your research. Look at some of the roles and the industries that exist out there within this growing market, because you might find that maybe you might be thinking that, oh, okay, if I do maybe IT, then I'm going to have higher chances of getting a job. But then in actual sense, you find that maybe IT jobs are actually right now not on demand like the way they used to be, because right now there are a lot of also layoffs that we are facing, a lot of budget cuts. So you might end up pursuing maybe a course that right now is not maybe too marketable in the market. So at the end of the day, you're doing your research and getting to know what are some of those industries, those roles that at least have higher demand in the market that can also be able to help towards shaping your career and that direction that you want to move towards. So that is the reason why career awareness is such an important topic, because when you're aware about your career, then you're aware about all these other different things surrounding you, then it helps you be able to have a clear direction in terms of where you want to go next. All right. So I want us to dive a little bit deeper about also getting to understand the different career pathways. And one of the key things that we need to know is that there is no single career pathway anymore, because gone are those days during the traditional society where, we used to like really, our parents those days used to rely so much on just one career path, and most of the times you just find someone with a full-time job with their 9-to-5 job, and that is their only livelihood. But right now, with the way the world is evolving, the likes of technology is advancing day by day, AI and whatnot, there are so many different career pathways right now. So back in the day, we had, so of course, we still have traditional careers. So under traditional careers, we have things like medicine, law, engineering, teaching. These still remain strong, respected pathways with structured entry routes and clear progression. So these traditional careers obviously are more of your foundation, because they are the ones now that kind of give you the direction and the purpose to where next you can go to. So when you look at now the traditional careers, with time, it can lead you to the digital careers. So under digital careers, we have things like software development, digital marketing, data analysis, cybersecurity. These are now some of the fastest growing fields globally. And what is the foundation of them? They are coming under traditional careers, because they are the backbone of now forming these other different branches of various career pathways that we have. Then from digital careers, we move to creative careers, where you find nowadays we see a lot of content creators, storytellers, bloggers, writers, and now these kind of creative careers have over time also become high in demand as brands and platform compete for audience attention. So now you find at the end of the day, from the traditional careers that we had, we have now moved to the digital careers, and now the digital careers is again opening another branch to the creative pathways, because now there you'll find probably not everyone may want to get into a 9-to-5 job, and so someone might want, to become maybe an influencer and basically thrive in the online world. So you find that has already created another different layer of a different career pathway. And then now from creative careers, we now head towards entrepreneurship. So you find that now with entrepreneurship, this is where building your own business or freelance service gives you that flexibility, ownership, and ability to create solutions that you believe in. Because now in current times, we have seen the rise of how entrepreneurship has become so popular and in demand right now, that now people are now craving other different ways of working. As they always talk about the future of work, people are now craving so many other ways. People want flexibility, people want freedom. They don't want to just maybe be confined in only one space or one office, and they want to get to try out different kind of things and know what it feels like to actually becoming your own boss and maybe creating something out of your own passion and experience. And now that is what has led to the entrepreneurship route. So you find today's world of work has been able to now offer, and it's offering so many different multiple routes to success. So you find that at the end of the day, it's right now, it's now very tough for you to just cage yourself to only one thing, and maybe, if I can say, probably just traditional careers, and you stick to that. No, because right now the world keeps evolving. We have inflation coming in. There's a lot of budget cuts, and all these other different challenges that are affecting us globally. So at the end of the day, now, if you're only going to survive on traditional careers alone, then you might have, problems of, trying to diversify your income sources. And that is why we are having all these other different multiple career pathways coming up. All right. Hopefully we're on the same page. In case if anyone has any question, just feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll always get back to that as we move on. But I hope that we are on the same page so far. All right. So, so the next thing that I want us to look at is the labor market reality. What exactly is happening right now in the job market? How is the state of the job market currently? So the world of work is, of course, something that keeps evolving and is evolving rapidly. So you find some roles are disappearing, and then many other exciting new ones are emerging. So understanding this shift is something that's also going to be able to help you position yourself strategically rather than reacting to change maybe negatively. So one of them is technology and digital skills. Almost every day, every industry now requires digital competence, from basic tools to advanced analytics and AI literacy. So you find that those days, technology was only known for the IT world, the IT sector, and maybe engineering. But right now, with the way how the market has evolved, you find that even if you're in education, there's technology there. You'll need to have digital skills competence. Even if you're in HR, there's technology that has broadened also there. Even if you're maybe in marketing, there's technology there. So you find that all these other maybe non-traditional IT roles are now all being digified, and you find they all have an element of technology in one way or the other. The other is remote and global opportunities. Geography is no longer a barrier. And so, especially even during the times of COVID, when we were dealing with COVID, we faced a lot of lockdowns, remote options, that was actually the rise of remote working. So you find that now a lot of organizations had to adapt with that remote kind of work culture to enable employees be able to still work remotely from any part of the world. So meaning you did not have to travel to wherever you need to travel to in order to work. So that is how much work has now become accessible to us. And even up to this day, a lot of other organizations still offer the option of you being able to work from anywhere in the world or at the confines of your home. The other is entrepreneurship and freelancing. So under this, you find that a lot of professionals are building now portfolio careers here. They're combining freelance projects, consulting, and business ownership. So you find someone is wearing so many different multiple hats at the same time. So it's no longer, we are slowly moving away from that whole trajectory of just us depending on only one source, which is a 9-to-5 core jobs, and now we are moving to freelancing and doing all these other different gigs. Then the other is lifelong learning. So you'll find that at the end of the day, your career is likely also going to evolve multiple times, because even when you're working, you'll find that at the end of the day, you may have to go through, of course, promotions, and so you have to evolve as your career evolves. So meaning that evolvement is going to come with lifelong learning. So you need to continuously embrace learning to stay ahead of the curve, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with already a lot of things. We are dealing with so many people who are more competitive than us. We also have technology, which is there. So meaning if we are not staying ahead of the curve, we can easily be replaced either by technology or even by other people who are more competent than us. So as the market is evolving, so should our skills and our learning be evolving at the same time with the market. So these are some of the realities right now that are happening in the job market. This is kind of a little bit like an exercise that I want us to do as we move towards the direction of discovering your strengths. How are you able to discover your strengths? One of the key things that I want you to keep in mind is that when it comes to, first off, when you're trying to, work on your skills, basically, your skills are often going to show up in things that you do naturally, joyfully, and repeatedly. So I want us to just take a few minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, to reflect on the following questions that I would love for you guys to just feel free to drop it in the chat. So the first one here is time flies. Let's look at time flies first. Under time flies, what activities are those that make you lose track of time because maybe you enjoy doing them so much? If someone could just, share with me your answers, be typing your answers here in the chat. So number one, time flies. What are those things that actually take a lot of your time because you enjoy them so much? Just write for me those skills so that we can be able to identify a few here. I can already see some. Okay, someone is saying social media. Someone is saying TV, long conversations, psychology learning. Okay. Phone. The other one is saying sleeping. Okay. In writing code. Wow. Interesting things here. All right. Let's go to the second part, natural curiosity. So now that we have looked at some of the activities that we do that occupy a lot of our time, let's go to the next one, natural curiosity. Under this, what subjects or topics do you naturally enjoy learning about, even without being asked? What are some of those subjects? If you could just drop your questions, or I mean your answers in the chat. Okay, so when I look at what we have here, okay, someone says psychology, self-reflection, development, entrepreneurship, mathematics. All right, English, okay, data analysis. Wow, amazing. I love the answers. The other is, let's go to 3. Option 3, what problems do people usually come to you to help solve? What are some of those things whereby in case of any challenge, they know, oh, okay, I can always go to Susan, I can always go to John to help me solve this. Let's see what are some of your answers. Youth empowerment, self-discovery, figuring life out, relationship problems, money problems. Okay, very interesting. Girls empowerment, cybersecurity. Wow, okay. Digital solutions, mentorship, advisory. Nice. And then we go to our last one, confidence zone. So under confidence zone, what are some of those activities that make you feel most comfortable? I mean, most capable, energized, and in your element? What are some of those activities? Let's see what we have here. Advise on life issues, business management and admin, cyber problems. Okay. Any other more answers? Getting up early, exercise. Okay, interesting. Public speaking. Right, I love that. So now, when you look at all those answers that you've given, I think you can begin to now see certain common patterns already from your answers. So those patterns are basically clues pointing towards careers that can actually develop from those things, those answers that you've already written, under time management, under natural curiosity, your go-to role, and confidence zone. Because I've seen a lot of public speaking, writing code, women and girls empowerment, self-discovery, so writing and public speaker. So you see, from just all these different answers that you guys have shared here, you can already see that those answers are already different career paths that you've already formed just from trying to discover your strengths. Is it making sense? Hopefully we're on the same page. Okay, someone is saying public speaking. Yes, thank you so much. Do we have any other? Hopefully we're on the same page. In case if you haven't understood, maybe just put a no so that I can re-explain it properly. But a lot of the times, yes? Yes, is someone speaking? Okay, I think I didn't hear you. Okay, so a lot of people here are saying yes. Okay, Canvi is saying no, ma'am, you can proceed. Okay. So, okay, please explain. So basically, as I was saying, because we are talking about career awareness, Tafadzwa, and we are trying to identify, okay, so as you're trying to identify, to become aware about your career and know some of the different options out there, how are you able to actually begin to discover maybe which career path you can be able to take, depending on what you enjoy, And so this is the reason why we had this exercise, basically to help you be able to discover your strengths. So we were trying to discover our strengths under time management, because those are activities that you do and you lose track of time, but you enjoy it so much. And then under natural curiosity, here you have different subjects or topics that you naturally enjoy learning about, even without being asked anything. Then you have your go-to role, you know, which is there to basically help you solve different problems that can usually occur for you to be able to find solutions to. And then the other is confidence zone. What activities make you feel most capable, energized, and in your element? So you find that now from your answers in all of these 4 categories, you are going to find that you have a lot of similar answers across all these 4. So that means now, like from some of the responses that I was seeing in that chat, a lot of people were saying mentoring others, public speaking, writing code, you know, girls empowerment and all those things. So you find that those answers that you're already mentioning there all come back to different career paths that you can actually be able to choose and decide, okay, now which direction do I want to take? So this was the whole essence of the exercise. I hope it makes sense for you. I hope it makes sense for you, Tafadzo. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. So, okay, I get it. My network is on and off. Okay, all right, no problem. So now let's look at linking strengths to career options. So as we have now discovered the different strengths that we have from the different answers we got from those questions, how do we now link those to different career options? How can we be able to form careers out of those strengths? So once you recognize your strengths, the key thing now is to begin connecting them to real career directions. So different combinations translate to different career opportunities. I'll give an example now, like here, for example, when you look at a skill maybe under problem solving, automatically problem solving can be combined. When you combine that with technology, you're going to end up in different career options. For example, you'll have software development, there's engineering, cybersecurity, data analysis, and so forth. The list continues. So you find these are careers that are being brought up out of solving a problem, because a lot of IT jobs usually have a lot of challenges that they're always solving through codes and all of that. And so these are some of the careers that can come from some of the strengths that you identified in the previous slide. Then when we look at communication plus storytelling, some people mentioned storytelling in the chat. Someone else also mentioned communication. So what kind of careers can come out of these strengths? You find things like marketing, journalism, content creation, public relations, media. Those are all different career paths that can end up coming from these 2 strengths that you already have, mainly because they are related to communication. So these are some of the options that come out of these 2 strengths. When we look at the option of helping people, someone talked about helping people, money problems, girls empowerment, and then when we combine that with empathy, because you're basically being empathetic to help people, what are some of the career options that can come out of that? Under this, we have options like healthcare, counseling, education, social work, community development, mentorship, coaching, because these are all different career paths that can come from just your strengths under helping people plus empathy. Then when we look at creativity plus visual thinking, some of the careers that can come out of this are things like graphic design, UI, UX design, digital media, architecture, fashion, because these are all under creativity. Someone had written there, writing, public speaking, those all fall under creativity. Visual thinking, because you're going to combine it also with images. So those are some of the different career paths that can form under the different strengths that you have. So I want you to know that your interests are not random, but these are just different signposts pointing you towards possibilities. So the goal is to listen to them and then you map out a way forward. So personally, me currently, I have a portfolio career. Just from my skills in HR, I was able to identify and notice that, oh, okay, I'm good at public speaking because I love communicating with people so much. So through public speaking, I've gotten opportunities such as becoming a trainer. I've been able to speak at different events. I have facilitated somewhere else, So all those have led to different career options for me, just from some of the strengths that I have. So these are some of how you can be able to link your strengths to different career options.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want us to just look at a small visual framework here, which is called the Career Compass. So under the Career Compass, in the middle here, I want us to just focus on the middle part here. And basically, how can we be able to have a meaningful career direction? Because even with all the options that we are seeing of how our careers are evolving, how can we actually be able to have something that we are happy with and maybe we can be able to sustain it? Number one, you look at your interests, what excites you. Those are some of what makes you happy, basically, what makes you even if somebody woke you up at, I don't know, whatever time of the day or night, that thing is something that can be able to excite you and you can actually be able to get something out of it. So that is where you're able to get your your fulfillment from. So those are things that you list down. And then when we come over here to skills, what are you good at? Just like what we identified from the strengths, those are some of the skills that you note down that can be able to help you form something meaningful. And then when we look at the values, what kind of life and work environment do you want to work in? Because this is very, very important, especially towards helping you move in a particular direction. Because for me personally, from my own experience, I have learned that the kind of work environment that you choose or you end up in is largely going to determine how progressive your career is going to evolve over time. Because if you're finding yourself maybe in a toxic environment or in an environment where there's no much growth, then it means at some point your career is also going to struggle. It's not going to evolve. It's going to be stunted. So it's very, very important to look at the kind of environment you'd love to work in that would actually help you thrive. And then the other is now the opportunities. What careers or industries exist within all these different things, within the interests that excite you, the skills, and then the values? What opportunities lie there? Because now this becomes the main key determinant to know whether what you're fighting or what you're chasing after actually has demand in the market or not. So when you get to know that, when you combine all these four, they can now help you be able to build your career meaningfully. So that means a sustainable career often sits at the intersection of your interests, your skills, available opportunities, and your personal values. So when you get to understand these four, at least it can be able to help you build, a meaningful career direction, but also help you get clarity and direction with where and how you want your career to keep evolving. Yeah, hopefully it makes sense. I hope you're on the same page on that. Someone, if you can just type for me yes or just unmute and tell me either yes or no, so that I know we're on the same page or whether I need to repeat.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so okay. Right. So the next thing that I want us to look at is career pathway mapping. So what exactly is pathway mapping actually? So career mapping means creating a clear, intentional direction rather than drifting or reacting. So instead of waiting for opportunities to find you, you start building a bridge of where you are and where you want to go. Now, a lot of the times I've noticed a lot of mistakes that so many young people make out there is you find that a lot of people have this syndrome of always wanting to wait for that perfect opportunity to find them in order for them to start making meaningful decisions basically out of their careers. And one of the key things that I always tell people is you do not need to wait for the most perfect opportunity to get you. Whether you have a job currently or you do not have, the key already is in your hands because you get to decide the direction that you want your career to move towards. Because that is very, very important. We do not want to be in this situation whereby you're finding yourself very desperate because you just want anything, anywhere, at any time. You do not care whether it's what fulfills you or not. Why? Because you've not taken the time to actually properly map your career. So where do we begin from? For you to be able to map your career properly and have that intentional direction, start with where you are right now. Ask yourself, what skills, knowledge, or experiences do you currently have? What's already in your toolbox? And we already saw this from the previous slide of trying to identify your strengths. Start with what you have. One of the key things that I always tell people is do not wait. There is a time I was having a session somewhere, I think that was last in January, about portfolio careers. And then there's somebody who reached out to me and was asking me a question and telling me, okay, I love fashion, I'm good at fashion, but I feel like I need to maybe first go back to school and advance myself a bit before I can begin to put myself out there in the market. And I told her, I love the fact that you've been able to identify your strength. I love the fact that you've identified you actually love fashion. It's something that interests you. And you've been able to put pieces together here and there for people. People have given you positive feedback. But the main key thing that I'll tell you is go ahead and begin to put your skills out there in the market. It doesn't matter whether they are fully polished or not. Why? Because when you put your skills out there in the market, as much as it may not be perfect, but it gives you the opportunity to learn on the ground as you perfect yourself from there. Because when you want to tie yourself back to the syndrome of wanting to first perfect yourself, maybe by first going to do a course and whatnot, you find that at the end of the day, imposter syndrome can easily come out there because now you feel, oh, I'm not yet good enough for the market. I cannot yet put myself out there. And you end up procrastinating and wasting a lot of time. And yet, if you could have actually put yourself out there the way you are, then it would have allowed you, yes, you would have made mistakes here and there, but they would have also helped you to learn. And then as you refine, then later you can now go ahead and do whatever course you want to do to now help you refine your skill even better. And she was like, oh my God, wow, thank you so much. I actually hadn't thought about it that way. And so that is now what she decided to do. So where am I now? Start with what you currently have. Use what you already have in your toolkit. Then the other is, where do I want to go next? So under this, what career, industry, or role genuinely interests or excites you? We've already seen this from the framework. We've already seen this from the identifying your strengths section. Identify your strengths, do your research, look at some of the industries that are there. What are some of the opportunities that are out there in the market? Find out, because you can find something that genuinely interests you, but then when you compare it with the market, it doesn't really have that much demand with the market. So it's going to be a bit hard for you to kind of compete favorably in the market. So as you develop your skills and you get to identify your interests and what excites you, go ahead and also identify what the market has to offer to help you be able to properly position yourself. And then the last is, what steps will get me there? So under this, we are looking at what are some of those skills? What are those education experiences or connections do you need to build along the way? Remember, as you're mapping your career, it's not just about maybe applying for the next job alone. No, but you need to also look at what are those key certifications maybe that I'm going to need to get to help me even further enhance the skill. And also, what are some of those connections or contacts that I need that are probably in this industry that I'm interested, that I need to start building along the way? Because when you combine all those, they are going to become so handy for you towards helping you map your career more intentionally and with a clear direction. Okay. All right. So just to throw a little bit on a small exercise here that I want us to just use, just like we did for the strength exercise. So I want us to just put this framework into practice, down some of your answers with some of the steps below. So one of the first key steps is step number 1, your current position. Under this, what skills or knowledge do you currently have? It can be communication, digital literacy, leadership, whatever it is. What current skills do you have right now as we map your career? If you can just type for me in the chat. I'll be reading your answers from the chat box. All right, let me see. Okay, someone is saying technical knowledge, interpersonal skills, people skills. All right. Okay, any other answers? Communication. All right, great. So we are already looking at your current skills, what you currently have. Now, when we go to the next part of your career interests, because we are trying to map your careers here. So what career paths are you most curious about right now? It can be maybe entrepreneurship, digital marketing, technology, whatever the case may be. What are some of those career paths that you're maybe curious or you're interested in? If you can also just drop for me your answers here in the chat. Okay, someone is saying digital literacy, IT, writing code, healthcare, education, leadership and business, technology, right, academia, education, great. All right, so we have now identified your current skills, and we have also identified your current. So now our last key step here is, what is your next course of action? What are you going to do about it now that you've identified your current skills and also the pathway or the industry that you're in? So I want you to share with me one concrete step that you intend to embark on within the next 3 to 6 months. It can maybe be taking an online course, attending an event, mentoring, volunteering, whatever the case may be. But what action are you going to take towards helping you map out your career pathway in terms of the direction that you want to go towards? If you could just share with me also your answers in the chat. Okay, Aska is saying volunteer, right? Someone is saying here internships, seek paid opportunities, create a career profile. I need to be more serious and intentional. Online courses and training, internships, data analytics, networking. All right. Okay, great. So I love some of online courses, volunteering, networking, reflection. Great. So now with some of these action steps that you have already shared down here as you map your career, I want you to be very, very, very intentional. Remember, you've shared already your action step in the chat box. I want you to hold yourself accountable. Even you can start with just maybe the next 3 months. There's no need to even prolong it to 6 months. And give yourself that as an assignment for you to actually do, to become intentional with, because that is one of the key things that is going to help you be able to map out your career path in the direction that you want it to move. This is also important. Take that step, that action, and work on it. Don't just write these things for the sake of writing them, but let them actually be action steps that you're going to put in your career, because these are things that are going to help you evolve, and they're also things that are going to help you embrace the continuous learning curve in order to help you be able to meet up with the job market demands right now. One of the key things also that has kept helping me so much is every now and then, every quarter, I always set myself goals, whether it is to learn a new skill or whether it is to get maybe a new certificate, whatever the case may be. I always set myself new goals, which has helped to hold me accountable towards shaping my career pathway. So if I hadn't, last year I was able to get around 3 to 4 certificates because I had already written down those goals. And now this year, one of my goals is to work on my language learning. So I'm thinking of actually enrolling for French classes, because I noticed that with the work that I'm doing currently, I'm also working with a lot of French speakers. And so somehow, communication becomes difficult when I'm communicating with them because I'm not able to speak French. So now that has become one of the career goals that I'm having on my to-do lists, is to enroll and learn the language. So now with doing that, it's going to help me become even more intentional while following my career pathway. So that's the reason why I'm telling you that even as you're sharing these answers with me here in the chat box, hold yourself accountable to them. And the beauty about it is you do not need to do all of them at once, but just focus on one key goal that you want to achieve, and that is where you will begin to build a strong foundation for your career. Right. So, how would your pathway forward starts today? So just like I said, you do not need to have everything figured out. I just need you to take that next step with a lot of clarity and intention. How do you do that? At least we have already looked at how you're able to know yourself by discovering your strengths, your interests, and values, because these are all a huge compass towards helping you identify your career. Then the other is explore boldly, try out new things. It doesn't matter whether you fail at them, but just be curious to try new things, ask questions, stay curious, because that is how growth lives outside your comfort zone. For example, currently in my current season, I'm also finding myself writing so many proposals and I noticed I made a mistake in one of the proposals that I made, and they ended up sending us less funds for the projects that we are currently running. And so it was tough for me to operate with those small funds. But now, because I realized my mistake, unfortunately, I could not take it back. I had to make sure I work with the funds that I have. But now, because of that experience, it has helped me now know better. So now next time when I'm writing maybe to any other organization looking for sponsorships, or I'm looking, basically writing those proposal concepts, I now know in which angle to write them way better to avoid the previous mistakes, because I've allowed myself grow out of my comfort zone. The other is to act consistently. So remember, careers, intentional careers are not just built on one day. No, they are built through actionable, consistent daily habits and tasks. One step at a time. Be consistent. Do it daily, and you'll find that at the end of the day, your efforts keep compounding, which will be able to help you build your career intentionally. And then the other is build your circle. Even as you're mapping your career, map it as well with the circle, with people who inspire you, who can challenge you and support your growth. Because at the end of the day, you cannot do it on your own. Two heads are always better than one, and therefore always see to it that you try your best to be in those circles that are going to help you grow. Now, like here at Women Ascension, having this session is something really valuable, and at least it gives you that sense of community to know that you're not on your own. Great. So as we're almost coming to an end, I just want to point out a few career mistakes, common career mistakes that so many people struggle with. The first one is comparing their paths with others. This is more or less like imposter syndrome. You want to compare maybe your chapter 2 with someone else's chapter 10. You're not on the same levels, and therefore the other person is always going to be obviously 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of you, because maybe it's something that they have been doing consistently over time, and for you, maybe you've just started today. You're not going to expect to find yourself on someone else's level. So allow yourself to move at your level and your timing. The other is waiting until you feel 100% ready. Honestly, there's never going to be a perfect time for you to be able to achieve and do whatever it is that you want to do. So even when you don't have everything figured out, you don't have full clarity, but that little that you have, because again, the beauty about our careers is our careers build us with skills. They build us with strengths. So whatever it is that you've already identified, begin from that, and the rest will eventually fall through. The other is ignoring your strengths and passions. Ignoring your strengths and passions. Sometimes we take some of these skills or these strengths for granted, not knowing that they are the ones that are actually going to take you way, way further than you ever imagined. Then the other one is fear to try out new things or new opportunities. Always be that person who is willing to challenge yourself by discovering new things, because that is also part of that growing process, and that's also how your career keeps evolving. And then the other is believing one mistake defines your future. So just because you've done a mistake here today, you want to just give up on your career entirely, and you think, now here I cannot proceed because I'm doomed. Self-pity, no, it's not going to take you anywhere. So at the end of the day, allow yourself to make the mistakes, but it is through those mistakes that are going to actually make you a much, much better person. So 3 things that are basically going to just help you always align your career, regardless of which path you use. Focusing on these 3 foundational elements are key to helping you advance your career. The other one is continuous learning. that we have already seen in the previous slides. Always develop new skills, adapt to change, and actively seek out new knowledge to stay relevant, because we are dealing in a rapid environment, in a rapid job market that continuously changes, that continuously is evolving. So if you're not evolving, guess what? The market will always evolve and it will leave you behind. The other is curiosity. Stay open to new industries, diverse ideas, and different perspectives, because that's how innovation happens. Just because you're in this field, maybe you're in engineering, that doesn't stop you from knowing what's happening in the world of maybe education or probably marketing, IT, whatever the case may be. Always try to cut across different industries. For example, my background is in HR, but I'm also trying to build my knowledge as well and get to know what's happening in the healthcare industry, even if it's not connected to me. I'm trying to know what's happening in the law industry, even if it's not related to my industry. Why? Because when you have curiosity, then it helps you know what's happening also in other industries around you, which can be able to help you come up with new solutions to some of the problems that exist. And then the other is confidence in your abilities. So believe in your potential to grow, to learn, and rise to new challenges and opportunities. That is one of the key things that's going to help you become accountable as you build or map your career. Right. So I think as we come to an end, we've already actually done this exercise, so I wouldn't want to repeat it again, but probably it can just be more of your takeaway or your homework, basically your reflection exercise. Take the time to look at your previous answers that you had shared in the previous exercises that we had together, then use those answers to develop your key strength. So under this, which professional or personal strength do you want to actively develop further? Because from the answers that you gave, you obviously notice you have very many different strengths or skills that you've been able to identify from what you already have. So now the key thing here is to start with one, because at the end of the day, we don't also want to overwhelm ourselves trying to do too many things at the same time. So start with one strength that you really want and you're interested in taking a step further. Then the other is now to explore the career path, what specific path or industry is tied to that strength that you want to develop further. And then, of course, now your takeaway is the action step. What are you going to do about it within the next 3 months as you move forward? So those answers that you get out of this exercise is now going to be the foundation of your personal career roadmap, because they are going to now help guide you towards the direction that you want your career to evolve in. So yeah, hopefully maybe you can take a screenshot of this exercise, but it's just more of your takeaway or your home away exercise, basically. So you can just take your screenshot there. Right. So before I wind up a little bit, I just want to share a small story. So your journey is a journey of exploration. And a few years ago, I actually met someone who completely was lost with their careers. They had studied one field, but discovered they were passionate about something different. But instead of giving up, this person began exploring different opportunities, learning new skills, and connecting with people in that industry. And over time, those small doors opened doors to opportunities that they never imagined. And currently, that person is actually working for one of the huge NGO organizations within the UN sector. So this person was someone that I was working with last year. He was very, very stuck, but when we worked together, we're able to map his career, and yeah, he has been able to develop something meaningful out of it. So your career is not something you discover in a single moment, but it's something that you build over time. So small action steps definitely are going to help you be able to build your sustainable career. Right. So that was it on my end. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So maybe if there are any questions, you can feel free to drop them or unmute, and I'll be so happy to answer your questions. Yes. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, but I guess they've been addressed. The session was continuing. Let me just read them. Oh, from
Okay.
Naim, thank you so much for the insightful session, dear Nicole. Students who have just completed high school are often experienced or aware of their strength and the opportunities available to them. As a result, they sometimes choose degrees that do not match their interests or abilities. Therefore, many students face mid-career crisis later in life. What would you suggest to help students make better career choices at this stage? This is one of them. Maybe if I could read all of them one first.
Okay, I think let me first answer that one. That is actually a very, very good question. I think for me, one of the key things here really that I would love to advise any young person out there is, as you're trying to discover yourself, you're trying to discover your career pathway, have someone that you can reach out to. If you're able to get a mentor, and especially right now with so much access to information and opportunities, get a mentor. Get someone who can be able to guide you, because sometimes two heads are better than one. And when you have someone at least who is, 2-3 steps ahead of you, they can be able to help you make way better decisions than you trying to figure these things out on your own. Personally, I did not have anyone to mentor me or to guide me during the time when I was at the university. And I ended up doing a course that I was not really interested in. And when I got into the job market, it was tough for me to get a job because I did not have that hand of support to guide me. So somewhere, somehow, I had to now navigate all these things from the job market itself. So, but right now, a lot of our young people obviously have that advantage of mentors and, coaches that they can be able to access to support them along this journey. So that would be my biggest advice.
Okay, thank you so much. Another one? Can someone please unmute? Can you mute? Okay, thank you. So the other question, it says, I have a question, okay, it says, I have a question, how to be clear about what career is best for you when you are confused between two career paths and you are good at both?
All right, that is a good question. That is a good question. So I think for me, one of my key advices that I would advise is to first off, between the two, even just like as I had explained in the previous slides, look at now the job market. The job market should now be your main determinant to helping you decide which pathway to take. Look at the job market. Which opportunity do you see has more demand than the other? Because a lot of the times, it's not just enough to have your interest or your passion in a particular field, but it's also equally important to look at what the current market is saying about that opportunity you're interested in. So that at the end of the day, when you get to the market, you don't start struggling and wondering, okay, now I went with this path and unfortunately, things are becoming tough for me to get a job. And now you end up becoming frustrated and stuck. Some of my colleagues, when we completed the university, I've had some of my colleagues who have completed over 10 years without actually getting into full real-time employment. So you can imagine, because they didn't take the time to do their research on the job market. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any questions on the floor? You can unmute and ask.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. You have explained it really nicely, and this is the second session I have attended in my tenure. I just needed to ask, like you told that you are in a different profession, and you're trying new things, which is the need of R for everybody to grow, right? So I just wanted to tell you that what thing one should keep in mind, that that person is not getting defocused from the main goal and still creating a balance for the upcoming improvements and everything. Hope my question is clear. That would be my first question.
Okay, could you repeat it again? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Okay, for sure. So my question is, if somebody is working on his or her personal goal, which is specific to his or her subject, but at the same time she want to upskill his or herself, or uh, you know transition into certain other things, so how can she can maintain the focus on the main thing, still creating a balance of learning from the other thing also, so not getting distracted by the secondary thing, basically. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good question. So I think for me, one of the key things that I would give when I relate that, it's more or less like having your 9-to-5 job, right? You have your 9-to-5 job, which is your main foundation. And then outside the 9-to-5 job, you also have these other different skills that you're trying to improve or work on as you have your 9-to-5 job. So of course, a lot of the times you're not just going to immediately leave your 9-to-5 job because you need to focus on these other things that are coming into place. No, you're going to always try to find a way to balance and ensure that the both are in coexistence. So you have your 9-to-5 job in existence with the other side projects or skills that you're trying to develop on the other way. So for me, I think the biggest key advice that I would give is, as long as you have your main core and you know the direction and the goal and the purpose that you want to achieve with it, even if you're already having these others that you're building, just allocate your time accordingly, because at the end of the day, you still want to have your foundation be able to reach that particular area, whereby even if you have these other things going on, it's still not distracting you or taking you away from your main foundation. Because maybe if your main foundation is not there and you're still trying to build this other skill, if you ignore your main foundation, then you'll find that this other skill would be struggling without the main foundation, right? So you just have to look at how you're able to balance your time to ensure that you still have time for your main foundation, but also the side skill that you're trying to build. Yeah. Hopefully it
Perfect,
answers
ma'am.
your
Thank
question.
you. Yes,
You're
perfectly.
welcome.
Thank you a lot, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I have one question with me here. How can we stay updated, or maybe to say to help others, especially the younger ones that are high schools, to say, someone might ask, how can we stay updated with emerging trends in global workforce, and maybe which skills is more in demand recently or currently actually?
Trying to stay in demand, honestly, that all falls back to research. Look at the current trends that are happening within your industry, because that's one of the key things that can help you really get to know what's happening around you. Personally, for me, I'm one person who likes to not only just focus on my own industry, but I always want to know, okay, what's happening in other industries. And somehow, somewhere, I have been very curious about climate change, renewable energy, and also healthcare. And somehow, somewhere, because of now my curiosity, always trying to look out for, articles, maybe to help me know what's happening within those industries, I've been able to actually get opportunities in those fields, even if they were not my field. So I've been able to be on a panel where I had to present to over 85,000 people on medical health, even if I'm not from a medical background. But because I had the interest and the skills, I did the needful. Currently, I'm also in a fellowship under climate change, even though it's not my background, but because it's something that I've taken interest in knowing and exploring about, it has now opened for me other doors outside my main background to also tap into other industries around me. So be curious and just take your time, do your research, and you'll find with time, other opportunities from those different industries will start coming your way. Yeah.
Thank you so much. The floor is open for questions. Anyone with another question?
Kanvi, do you have another question?
Yes, ma'am. I have few questions. I would, if you can, tell it in very short, so that would help. What one advice you would be giving to somebody who is yet unclear about his or her goal?
I think one of the key things really, or the advice that I would advise such a person is to, even if you do not have that clarity in terms of knowing what your call or what you want to pursue is, just still put yourself out there. Put yourself out there, utilize what you already have within you, the skills already that you already have, and somewhere, somehow along the way, that is where you'll be able to find your call. I don't believe in this whole business of saying, okay, let me first sit and fold my hands and wait for me to have clarity with my call before I can actually do something. Personally, I hadn't discovered my call. I got to discover my call that was in 2018 when I was in India. I was living and working in India. So before that, I was previously in Russia. I also went to India again for the first time. And over there, I was working in marketing. In Russia, I was having a teaching job, but when I was doing all those different jobs, I hadn't really discovered my calling because I wasn't so much interested in marketing. I wasn't so much interested in teaching. But somehow, when I traveled to India for the second time in 2019, and I got into HR, that is where I discovered my call, because I got to realize that, oh, I actually love communicating with people. I actually love helping people get jobs. I love to see that fulfillment of what it means to see someone getting a job because of maybe the work that I did. And now from 2019 to date, HR is one of the things that has been able to build my career, basically, in all these different angles. So I wouldn't have gotten that clarity if I didn't keep moving. So keep moving, use what you have, and the clarity will come along the way. Yeah.
Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Answered really perfectly. Thank you a lot.
You're welcome.
Yes, Miss Moderator, you can end the session with the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, as we come to the end of today's session, I would like to sincerely thank you, our mentor, Caroline, for sharing such valuable insight with us. I would also like to thank all participants for joining and actively engaging in this session organized by Women Ascension Skills Development. And also thank you everyone for your time and participation. Have a good day and a wonderful day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the moderator. And on behalf of Women Ascension, I would take my sincere words for taking your time out and guiding our fellows and participants. And it's always a pleasure to listen to you, and we'll see you in the future sessions also. Thank you a lot of ma'am. Good day.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Caroline. It's a pleasure to have you here with us tonight.